back to Mr. Obsolete's Vintage Homesteading. Today we're out on our hiking trail. We've got a bunch of work to do on it, so we'll be back and show you what we're going to do. Well, we had a big windstorm here recently and got a bunch of stuff knocked down. A lot of small stuff, branches. And here's the top of an old rotten tree that just came down. And the thing with this tree, I hadn't taken it down for a while because I would have had to take down the fence to drop it. It was too tall. But Mother Nature dropped out about 25 feet of it, so now I can drop it, which we'll be doing in a future video coming up pretty soon. But you can see it's pretty rotten. These trees out here, there's just too many of them too close to one another, and they just keep, the smaller ones just keep dying, and so slowly but surely we're going to take out the trees. And if you look off over here, you can see a bunch of them are real close together, and they only have foliage on the very top. And if you thump on the stump there on the, the main hunk of the tree there, they sound kind of hollow, so the wood's not that good in a lot of them too. So the trunks, like I say, you can tell the good ones from the bad ones by thumping on them with an axe or something like that. So what we're going to be doing today, I'm going to cut this all up here and use it for firewood. And then the other thing we're going to do, all these little branches like this are all over the place, everywhere. They're dead and dry and make perfect kindling, so we'll be harvesting that stuff too. And here's a, see how it just broke right in half there. So anyway, we'll get the saw out here and start cutting. Well, if you look over behind us here, you can see the tree. You can see it's dead all the way up, and the top blew out of it this last windstorm. And the trees, a lot of them are not healthy around here. The one off to the left is okay, but it's got a lot of branches on the bottom that are not doing well. And the tree off to the right is almost completely dead. It only has just a few branches, and the very top of it's blown out too. So I'm gonna get ready to drop them and chop them, but not today. Okay, well, the first thing we're gonna do is use our little Evansville and chop off the branches here that I'm gonna get off of here. This is a great axe. There's a bigger one here. Let's see how many chops it takes. One. Mr. Pooh's earning its keep. Okay, well, ready to load some of this up. Use a picaroon. Keep us from having to lean over. Pick it up. It's a little soft there, so have to hit it a little harder. It makes it so easy to transport this wood without straining yourself. So we'll continue and fill this up and be back. Okay, well, like I say, we got all kinds of branches and stuff. Instead of just leaning down on all this stuff, it's just so much easier to just do stuff like that. So the benefits are getting rid of this stuff and cleaning up the little forest area here. And since this is really dry, it makes excellent kindling for the stove and also for burning stumps and whatnot. So anyway, the real small short stuff like this, it's small enough to go in the stove. Small bit of it. Just makes it so much easier. You're not bending over for every piece that's falling out. So you gotta work smart. We'll be back. Okay, well, that was pretty quick and successful. We got a whole bunch of kindling here. So I won't have to do any of that tonight or the next few days. And you can see here's, I'll cut this up in shorter pieces, and you can see the big pieces of wood here. There'll be enough wood to last me for about a week of burn time. So actually, Mr. Pooh is getting more and more acceptable all the time. It did a pretty good job. Of course, it's pretty soft wood, but that new chain made a huge difference. And of course, go back and watch our video 1 through 5 on this from start to finish. All the mods I did to make it cut good like it's doing now. Anyway, back with more stuff a little bit. Well, the next chore for today, I'm going to burn this pile of trash wood here, but it's got a lot of dirt and junk in it, stuff, and it's really, really wet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dig it around enough to where I can set the burn barrel over on top of it. And then I'll put it back in, but I'll put in charcoal and wood, and I'll show you how that's done. So I'll get this going here. See all that crappy wood there? Okay, well, we'll be back when we're ready to put the barrel on. Well, we got it on here. So we'll come over and take a look down inside and we'll start cutting the wood up to put in it. Okay, well, we're ready to cut. Got the sauna warmed up. Get the wood here. So I use a glove on the hand of picking the wood up because some got thorns and ick on them and stuff. And the other one I like holding on to the handles with a bare hand on the saw. So anyway, we'll cut this up, build a pile, and then we'll come over to the barrel and show you what we're going to do next. Yeah, I'm gonna get a bigger piece of wood here. Well, you can see that processes really quickly. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to put in some charcoal. We'll put this around the perimeter. And what that does, once it's burning, builds a lot of heat, dries that stuff out. Charcoal I use is mostly the big chunk stuff that lasts really long. The briquettes are burn up too fast. So then we're going to take these, put them around the perimeter. If you want to see this in a full-length video, go to our video Learn from the Burn. Anyway, we'll get those all the way around, put a small layer across, and we'll start putting some of this on and just layer it, and then we'll light it off. It's getting too late in the day to burn it today, but anyway, that system works really good. And you know, I've got vent holes down in here on the barrel. When I first did the first video, I didn't have that, but this makes it a lot better. And the draft comes in and concentrates the heat right down in the bottom, whether we're doing a tree root or stump or just debris like this. So anyway, back with more. Just wanted to do a little demonstration here for you. Throttle control. So when I'm cutting through here, right before I cut through, I'll let off the throttle, let the momentum continue with the chain there and drop off. And so if the saw comes down close to your leg or anything else, the chain's going to be pretty well stopped. So there we are. Well, we got one more little quick job because it's getting ready to rain on us. Well, we've got to be quick. It's starting to rain, but anyway, using the pickaroon there to handle wood again. Makes it so much better. Keeps your back from aching. Just takes a little bit of skill to get the right amount of hit with it. Too much it sticks on, too little it falls off. That one was just right. Okay, well, we got some more stuff. I'll go ahead and get this loaded up and we'll see you back when we're ready for more. Well, we're out to cut some stumps off here because we're running low on kindling. So I've got a number of them back in here. Something jammed in the chain. Well, a pretty good cut. This is pretty hard wood. One thing I found is kind of interesting on the saw is looking through the owner's manual the other day. It says for intermittent use only. So what does that mean to me as a consumer? Don't buy it. But actually, the more I use it and the mods I've done, it's actually performing pretty darn good. So anyway, I'll get the chain broke free and be right back. Well, wondered why the chain bound up on it. Wasn't the chain. It was actually the sprocket tip. Got so much sawdust in it, bound it up. Had to take the bar off and take a screwdriver and run it backwards to get the crap out of it. But we'll see how it does. We got another stump here to set off. Got a couple more back here, so we'll see how it does. That was a nice rotten one. We'll get set up and come back over here. Okay, just wanted to talk about wood for just a second here. Different densities of it. This stuff here isn't real big in diameter, but it's quite dense. And it weighs right at 10 pounds. It's about the same, but it only weighs 8.5 pounds. But what the thing is with different types of wood is the amount of heat they put out. So lighter wood like this, which is cherry wood, and it's not very good, it's semi-rotten, but it burns really hot and quick, where the other type of wood I have takes a lot more heat, but once it gets going it burns longer and nice and hot too. But anyway, then this piece here, actually pretty good sized piece, but it doesn't weigh hardly anything because of the bugs that got in it. It's all rotten, but still burns good. In fact, I'm going to go throw this on the stove after a bit. But the last thing I wanted to talk about is our favorite little Mr. Poulin chainsaw, the Wild Thing. I'll be back in a sec. Well, I just wanted to talk about Mr. Pooh here, the little Poulin Wild Thing. Some of the going through the learning curve of all the weird things it does and doesn't. And you know, you can go back and watch my older videos on from a non-running saw to the modifications I've done on it. And it actually cuts and works pretty good. When I was cutting that broken off treetop the other day, and that rotten wood, it actually cut really fast. I was surprised. And cutting the stumps off today, it did really well too, except for the tip and the sprocket tip here froze up on me. And the stumps I was cutting was cherry wood. Cherry wood's reasonably hard, but the bark is really tough stuff. Because when I've been cutting it in the past, it stalls the bar on my John Deere 40V pretty easily. And this one, it worked its way into the sprocket tip and seized it up, so I had to take the bar off and spin it backwards to get the crap out of it. And you know, still a little stiff here, but so anyway, the other thing is that been kind of weird on this is a modification I did on it to make it oil better, which it does, but I already had this off earlier, but boy, it just builds up a tremendous amount of crap in here. It's now a high service saw. You can't cut very long without getting this thing plugged up. I'm gonna do some mods and get another cover and do some different mods on it and see if I can get it to throw the chips out better, but there's not a lot of room in here. Otherwise I just cut off this back here down here, but we just stick on the saw. So anyway, we'll try that. But so we'll take the bar and chain off here. And I've got probably maybe just one tank of fuel since I had the bar off and cleaned it. And yeah, you can see all that. You see how gooey it is? Yeah, it's a mess. But that, like I say, if I was doing a different type of wood, it wouldn't be so critical. There again, this stuff is long and stringy and tough. So the tip is a little bit stiff, but not real bad right now. Use our little mini grease gun here. Then you want to rotate it to get the grease all the way through. See the grease starting to come out right here, so we know he's got it. Now it rolls really easy. So anyway, the other thing on this saw that is kind of a critical point on them, and the bigger pull-ins are the same way, the plastic saws like this, is when they get hot they don't want to restart. And this one was somewhat that way. It wasn't super bad, but what happens is that the ignition coil is mounted on plastic, and the saw gets hot, the distance between the flywheel magnets and the coil expands, and if you're at the outer limit of the adjustment on it, you'll have weak or no spark when it's hot. So initially I checked this, it was pretty close, so I just left it as is, and then, you know, like I say, hot starting was a bit of a problem, and so I went back to check it, and it actually had opened up. So the plastic, this saw hadn't been used for a long time, so the plastic had kind of atrophied and stuff, and when I was using it, it was starting to expand out, and I got it to the outer limits of the adjustment. So I readjusted it to 11 thousandths of an inch, so they say the gap should be anywhere from 10 to 14 thousandths between the magnet and the coil, and made a substantial difference in the power. I was really surprised. I've never had a saw so finicky that way. But the one thing I can say good about this saw, it generally starts pretty good when it's cold, and like I say, it's cutting pretty good now, and it's almost a real chainsaw. So anyway, the other thing that I did here is painted the muffler there. And you know, way back when the guys were doing hot rods in the early years, if you had a car that didn't perform good, their saying was, if it don't go, chrome it. Well, my motto is, if this don't cut, paint it. So I painted it with some silver high heat paint. Actually, to me anyway, it looks a whole lot better. So anyway, I gotta clean it all up and put it away. But so anyway, that'll be the end of our exciting video for today. And next week we'll be doing our third video on the chainsaws that we use, and that'll be from 60cc on up. So remember, vintage is good even if it's semi-good. We'll see you on the next video.